Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum dear viewers. I am Professor Dr. Muhammad Usman from Easy Physio, and in this short video we will learn about various types of neurons. Now we can classify the neurons in many ways. For example, depending upon their function, depending upon their number of poles, and depending upon the myelination. So first of all, we will classify the neurons depending upon the function. Now here we can divide the neurons into two major types, that is motor or efferent neurons and sensory or afferent neurons. Now motor neurons are the ones which carry impulses from the CNS to the periphery. Okay, efferent or motor neurons are those which carry impulses from the CNS to the periphery. CNS means brain and spinal cord, and periphery is all the body except CNS. So it means that motor neurons or efferent neurons are those neurons which carry impulses, which carry the messages from the brain and spinal cord to all the body, while sensory or afferent neurons are the opposite ones. They carry impulses from the periphery, for example from the mouth. They carry impulses from the periphery to the CNS. Now here in this figure you are seeing a sensory neuron. This one is a sensory neuron or afferent neuron. It is carrying impulses from the receptor to the CNS, and in the CNS it is making synapse with an interneuron, which usually serves as a communicator between the afferent and efferent neuron. So this is an interneuron in the CNS, and this one, this red colored neuron, is an efferent neuron or motor neuron, which is carrying impulses from the CNS to the periphery. So it usually gives message to the muscles, glands or blood vessels. Now we can also classify the neurons depending upon the number of poles, and here we can divide the neurons into three major types, that is unipolar neurons, bipolar neurons and multipolar neurons. Now unipolar neurons, as the name indicates, they have only one pole. Here you are seeing a unipolar neuron. Now this one pole, it arises from this cell body or soma, and from this single pole both the dendrites and axon they arise. So from the single pole both dendrites and axon they arise. Most of the unipolar neurons, they are sensory neurons, and they conduct impulses from the periphery to the CNS. Now bipolar neurons, as the name indicates, they have two poles. As you can see here, from the soma one pole is arising, and this is giving rise to dendrites, and the other pole is giving rise to the axon. So they have two poles. From one pole dendrites arise, and from the other poles axon arise. Now all the bipolar neurons, you must remember that they are sensory neurons. All the bipolar neurons are sensory neurons, and they are located in some special sense organ, like they are present in the retina of the eye and in our nose. Here you can see a bipolar neuron which is present in the retina, and it will conduct impulses to the brain. Now the multipolar neurons, as the name indicates, they have multiple poles. From one pole of the cell body, this dendrite, this axon arises, and from all the other poles dendrites arise. So they have multiple poles. From one pole axon arises, and from all the other poles dendrites arise. Now most of the multipolar neurons, they are interneurons, as we have seen in the previous figure, that they are present in the interneurons are present in the CNS, while some multipolar neurons, they are motor neurons, and they conduct impulses from the CNS to the periphery, that is to the muscles or other structures. Now we can also divide the neurons depending upon their myelination. Now here we divide the neurons into two types, that is myelinated neurons and unmyelinated neurons. As the name indicates, myelinated neurons, as you can see, are the ones in which the axon is having a myelin sheath, in which the axon is myelinated. So, this myelin sheath is formed by various cells, as I will show you, and this is a thick lipid layer and it serves to insulate the neuron from the surroundings. And the unmyelinated neurons, they do not have any myelin sheath. The myelin sheath, by insulating the neuron, it speeds up the impulse velocity in the neuron and it also serves to conserve the energy. The myelin sheath is formed by the Schwann cells. As you can see here, this is a Schwann cell and this is forming myelin sheath. Now, this myelin sheath is formed by the Schwann cells in the peripheral nervous system, and this myelin sheath is formed by the oligodendrocytes in the CNS. As you can see here, this is an oligodendrocytes and it is sending foot processes which are covering the neurons and forming a myelin sheath. Thank you for watching today's video. If you have liked and understood today's topic, then please consider subscribing to Easy channel. Allah Hafiz.